What would you think if I told you that the company that designed and manufactured a retired aircraft could make it fly again? This is no ordinary aircraft. It holds the title of the largest passenger aircraft ever produced. Behind this bold comeback plan lies a $20 billion investment. A single airline is refusing to let this aircraft be consigned to the dusty pages of history. Are you ready to hear the story of how Emirates Airlines brought its massive Airbus A380 back to life? When Airbus officially announced the end of the Super A380 era by delivering its last A380, the calendar read 2021. Many airlines were eager for this era to come to an end. However, Emirates didn't think like the others. While many airlines were eager to retire their A380 fleets, Emirates increased its commitment to the aircraft. The company operates over 100 of these double-decker giants. That's more than all their airlines combined. Why has Emirates remained so committed to this aircraft, which the entire aviation world is trying to forget? No, this is not nostalgia. There is a man with a vision. This man believes that the A380 story is not yet over. This man is Sir Tim Clark, the president of Emirates Airlines. Clark presented a critical proposal to Airbus, the manufacturer of the A380. What he wanted were not minor updates or changes. He wanted to completely redesign the A380. He even gave it a name, A380 Neo. In an interview with Executive Traveler, Sir Tim Clark said, "According to Airbus, I have provided a design that is 25% cheaper in terms of costs and more fuel efficient." Airbus had reviewed the project but estimated it would cost approximately $20 billion. Clark responded, "You produce this design and we will buy it. Would you invest $20 billion in this aircraft, which everyone is eager to retire?" To understand why Clark was so determined to bring this project to life, you need to know the reasons behind the A380's failure. Airbus introduced the A380 in the early 2000s. At the time, this aircraft was considered a technological marvel with its exceptional design. The A380 was designed with 2 decks and could accommodate 853 passengers. It was revolutionary for long-haul flights at the time. However, this jumbo jet had 4 major weaknesses. First, it had a maximum takeoff weight of 1.2 million pounds. Second, and perhaps the most significant, was its high fuel consumption. Its massive 80-meter wings prevented it from landing at many airports, which was another drawback. The final issue was that the aviation industry was shifting towards smaller twin-engine aircraft. These negative characteristics were significant enough to pose serious challenges. So, why did Clark think the A380 could be successful despite all these drawbacks? The answer was quite simple. It was because of the significant development of the commercial aviation sector between the time it was first designed 20 years ago and the present day. Aviation engineers designed the A380 using composite materials, which were still considered new at the time. However, these materials were metal-heavy due to their structure, which was one of their drawbacks. But when we look at the commercial aviation industry today, this situation has changed. Modern passenger aircraft like the Boeing 787 and A350 use carbon fiber reinforced polymers at a rate of 50%. These materials are more resistant to corrosion, lighter, and stronger. Sir Tim Clark designed the A380 Neo, which is a modernized version of the original A380. This modern design would be produced using all these innovations. With today's technology, we know much more about the A380 than we did when it was first produced. According to Clark's new project, the wings would be designed to be smaller because they are large. This design would also be used in all future new generation aircraft. According to Clark's vision, drag force would be reduced with a small vertical tail fin. The entire fuselage would be equipped with composite materials, and wingtips similar to those of the Boeing 777X would be designed to further enhance airport compatibility. Even these small changes could reduce the overall weight of the aircraft. This would improve aerodynamic efficiency. However, the most important factor was how these new generation aircraft would operate. When you look up at the sky, you no longer see 4-engine aircraft. Have you ever wondered why? The biggest technological engines that could make Clark's new modern design a success. The old A380 was powered by 4 large engines. Although the Engine Alliance GP7000 and Rolls-Royce Trent 900 models were impressive, these engine designs were outdated technology from the 1990s. Rolls-Royce has been presenting us with the most innovative aircraft engine in recent years. Clark stated that if this engine could rise above the water level, it could be revolutionary. I think Clark was right because the UltraFan was not just an improvement project but a precursor to the need for jet engines to be redesigned. This prototype began operating in 2023. The results were incredible. In ground tests, it achieved more than 88,000 pound-feet of thrust. This exceeded the expected targets. What made the UltraFan engine so special? The answer to this question lies in the turbofan architecture inside the engine. With a fan diameter of 140 inches, this architecture was the largest ever designed. The tail fins were designed with composite materials to ensure lightness and high heat resistance. It was fully compatible with sustainable aviation fuel, a fuel that is 99% sustainable, and its multi-fan system ensured high performance throughout all flights. According to Clark's vision, this new design would achieve approximately 30% fuel savings compared to currently used engines. This represents not just a revision, but a revolutionary change in commercial aviation. The new A380 Neo design would carry significantly more passengers, more economically with less fuel, while also competing with twin-engine aircraft. When asked about the most comfortable aircraft, passengers consistently mention the A380. One of the main reasons for this is the aircraft's significantly larger cabin volume compared to others. Emirates has effectively leveraged this advantage in competition. The A380's spacious interior allowed for free design. Among these designs were closed suite rooms, a common lounge for socializing, shower cabins for long journeys, wide seats, and exceptional silence thanks to sound insulation and the aircraft's lightness, creating a perfectly comfortable flight even at the highest altitudes. Of course, all of this meant high prices for passengers. Each of these features became an excellent marketing tool. The pandemic that swept the world in 2020 once again highlighted the importance of the A380. Would you pay extra to travel at 50,000 feet? Even though the passenger experience is important, airlines actually make decisions based on economic considerations. The A380 aircraft faced challenging times due to their high costs. These planes were sold for $450 million. However, the most important factor in selling them at this price was that the planes had to be fully booked. However, Emirates achieved what other airlines couldn't in a more economical way. Emirates managed to operate over 110 flights per day in 2023. This double-decker aircraft had a total capacity of 620 passengers. The A380s were more competitive when fully loaded. Clark's newly designed model offers a 30% reduction in fuel costs, reduced maintenance processes, foldable wingtips, and an excellent travel experience, enabling premium-priced flights. This has enabled it to significantly reduce economic factors. Emirates has invested heavily in its A380 aircraft. These investments include large maintenance hangars, extensive spare parts inventory, special training for pilots, and simulators. Special passenger airport gates and bridges have also been designed to complement all these premium advantages. Continuing operations with A380 aircraft seems easier than maintaining a fleet of smaller aircraft. This ensures the continuity that is logistically challenging. However, the real question we should be asking is, does commercial aviation still need aircraft of this massive size? For some time now, there has been a demand for smaller aircraft with lower passenger capacity to operate more flights. These aircraft, which are smaller than the A380, operate more flights to more destinations and carry more passengers. Major airports such as Tokyo Narita, Heathrow, and JFK are exceeding their landing and takeoff quotas due to high demand. At this point, the A380 Neo is making its mark with fewer flights and more passengers. The Neo can successfully meet demand between major airports on busy routes. However, this is a variable situation. According to CAPA's analysis, the A380 Neo is still operating profitably on high-yield international flights. Its 30% profitability could put the Neo in the spotlight. Putting everything else aside, have you considered the environmental impact of excessive flights? Aviation activities are under great pressure to reduce their carbon emissions into the atmosphere. The Arab Civil Aviation Organization, ACAO, has set itself the ambitious goal of achieving carbon-neutral growth by 2050. At first glance, a four-engine aircraft may not seem compatible with these goals, but that is not entirely the case. When compared to a smaller aircraft, the A380 Neo's passenger capacity can achieve the same carbon emissions. Considering that the same number of people can be transported with smaller aircraft, the A380 Neo's advantages become even more evident. Additionally, the Neo's compatibility with sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, which ensures continuity, offers a different perspective on the matter. The A380 Neo is expected to continue its journey while significantly reducing the impact of carbon. This aircraft incorporates numerous green technologies. Examples include advanced wings and small wingtips that reduce drag, more efficient power units, and a fuselage design that reduces overall weight. Although these are all positive developments, restarting the new Neo design will bring major problems. The production of A380 aircraft was not just paused but completely stopped. The engineers who designed it were assigned to other projects, and the production lines were dismantled. Certain conditions must be met for this aircraft to be relaunched. The main ones are as follows: redirecting supply chains, replanning engineers and other teams, recertification in accordance with FAA and EASA guidelines, reestablishing complex supply chains, and updating software systems for cabin management and flight control. The estimated cost of $20 billion for all of this is one of the factors complicating the process. Many airlines are still skeptical about this situation. Companies such as British Airways, Lufthansa, and Turkish Airlines have grounded all their A380 aircraft. However, Emirates could change all of this. If a few major airlines support the A380 Neo, it might be revived. Do you think this is possible? What do you think? The draft design for the new A380 Neo aircraft is currently only an engineering model on the table at board meetings. Moreover, this draft is backed and defended by the manager of a large company. Although this project seems like a dream in the commercial aviation sector, it is not impossible. With increasing passenger capacity, the aviation sector is rapidly developing and demand is growing. There are no signs yet that slot restrictions at major airports around the world will be eased. The development of UltraFan engine projects is still ongoing. Emirates shows unwavering commitment to its A380 aircraft. In today's world, premium flights, especially on long-haul routes, continue to be in demand. Would Airbus really invest $20 billion to revive this project? Looking at the history of the commercial aviation sector, this seems highly unlikely. However, the aviation sector has always challenged traditional knowledge and continuously innovated. In the past, people said that the Wright brothers could never fly. What about now? Many people thought Boeing would fail. However, the 747 model shaped the future of the company. Airbus took a big risk, just like Boeing, and it seems like it will continue to do so. The most significant detail of this story is that when Airbus mocked the €20,000 revival cost, Clark said, "You do this project, we'll buy it." The aviation industry is a high-risk field. However, sometimes beliefs like this project can change everything, maybe even bring the dead back to life. What do you think about this topic? Should Airbus continue to fly with its new modern design, or should it be consigned to the dusty pages of history? If you enjoyed our analysis of the aviation industry, subscribe to stay updated on all developments related to commercial aviation. Share your thoughts with me in the comments. Would you like to fly on the A380 Neo?